All right, Ukraine has said that it is ready to accept an immediate 30-day ceasefire with Russia proposed by the United States during talks in Jeddah.
Now, in his first comment after the talks, US President Trump lauded Ukraine and said his team now needs to get Russia to sign off. Trump said the meeting with Russian officials is scheduled for later. He also said he was ready to welcome back Ukrainian President Zelensky to the White House and may speak directly with his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin.
To get the Russians to agree?
I'll talk to Vladimir Putin, yeah.
When will
I
you
want to
talk
get,
to
look, that's the other, it takes two to tango, as they say, right? So hopefully he'll also agree, and I really think that would be 75% of the way. The rest is getting it documented and, you know, negotiating land positions, etc.
Now, Trump's comments came shortly after his administration lifted its suspension of military aid and intelligence sharing for Ukraine. The administration imposed the measures a week ago, following Zelensky and Trump's showdown at the White House. The Ukrainian president was quick to thank his U.S. counterpart.
Американська сторона розуміє наші аргументи.
I want to thank President Trump for the constructiveness of the conversation between our teams.
Президенту Трампу за конструктивність розмови наших команд.
Since the US cut off aid and intelligence sharing to Ukraine, Russia has stepped up attacks on Ukraine's energy infrastructure and seized back land in Russia's Kursk region, which Ukrainian forces had infiltrated. This was hours before the Jeddah talks, and Ukraine staged a major direct attack on Moscow with hundreds of drones slamming into the capital and other areas, leaving 3 people dead. All right, for more on this, listen to this report by Associated Press correspondent Jean Cameron.
A make-or-break summit today in Saudi Arabia between Ukraine and the United States has ended, and there are a couple of pretty major decisions coming out of this. The first is that the United States is saying that it will resume sharing intelligence with Ukraine as well as sending military aid. This is a big change from what we saw last month with that Oval Office blow-up between Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, President Donald Trump, and Vice President J.D. Vance getting into a major argument in the Oval Office. Secondly, we did see the United States and Ukraine both pitch the idea of a 30-day ceasefire to halt Russia's war in that country. Now, it depends a lot on what Moscow is going to say. So far, Russian President Vladimir Putin has not offered any concessions. The Ukrainians are still holding a piece of Russia right now, the area of Kursk, and Russia is still holding large chunks of eastern Ukraine. Another wrinkle in this is the fact that Ukraine launched its biggest ever drone attack on Russia just before these talks started today. That saw some 300 drones, some going towards Moscow. At least 3 people were killed and others were wounded in that attack. So while the intelligence sharing and the military aid returning to Ukraine is major for Kyiv, the real question remains just how Putin and the rest of the Russian government is going to react to the ceasefire and whether the guns could stop firing in this bloody conflict.